Get light and power. Them hustle sote, they can't get the power. But now they know they do anything with the power. Every day, dollar, just they get the higher power. Over naira. Still them talk say, make we off mind. But thank God say, my ego don't come. So my people make you loud. Oh, yo, yo, my ego don't come. Oh, yo, yo. My people make we shout. Oh, yo, yo, my ego don't come. Oh, yo, yo. My ego don't come, man of the masses. Oh, yo, yo. My ego don't come. Oh, yo, yo. My ego don't the political. Oh, yo, yo. My ego don't come. Oh, yo, yo. This one not they off in mind. Oh, yo, yo. My ego don't come. Oh, yo, yo. Person where they do evil, no one make person talk. Them say that my egun, that man too they talk. He too they talk. Say my egun diary, he they hot like pepper. But every day then they take money in bulk. Woman picking, they the street they hawk. Still them talk say, make we no talk. But thank God say, my egun don't come. So my people make you loud. Oh yo yo, my egun don't come. Oh yo yo, my people make you shout. Oh yo yo, my egun don't come. Oh yo yo. Man of the masses. My ego don't come. My ego diary politico. My ego don't come. My ego la wamo la mo do. My ego diary.
Good morning to you, good afternoon to you, and good evening to you from wherever you are watching from. This is Mayegun on this short live. Share the broadcast.
Glory Facebook, glory YouTube.
This is very unusual. Unusual, and it is random. Okay, I don't expect a lot of us to join. Unfortunately, we are starting very, very late. That's why I call it unusual. Let's call it a gist. For those who are joining us, please share the broadcast.
Diary political. Godfatherism. Kò sí lọ́rọ̀ Mayegun diary. Ẹ farabalẹ̀ sẹ́ o kẹ́gọ́rọ̀ lẹ́nu.
The wahala, from the Tinubu's trip to France, as well as his disappearance, and then his reappearance, and then the ruckus that followed, can be part of our gist tonight. Let's hope we don't get too much freeze. Tonight, I have a video for you. A video of a gondola, promoting the punishment for corruption in Nigeria, like, sponsoring a kind of, a bill asking that corrupt people in Nigeria, what should happen to them? He ended up opening a bank in his own Barbariga. I also have a gist for you from that same Paris, right? So don't let us waste much time. Yeah. Today happened to be Akiola's birthday. So we spent the whole day as, like busy. And I initially ruled out coming live tonight, but I was like, I could see kind of sneak this in and make it kind of like interactive, that all of us are just here like, okay, you know what? It may not be too serious, but if it's with Mayegun, it's going to be worth it, right? Now, you see all the noise coming from France, showing that Kolu only traveled to France for validation. It wasn't there to make any meaningful impact. You see, at that Paris summit, okay, it was meant to be an opportunity for investors. You know what I mean? Like, come around and see what you can do with Nigeria. So African presidents, they used the opportunity as well to push their own agenda of we no longer want to be to play the second fiddle to the West, that for years, for decades, they have been ripped off, and they see Africa as a charity case. Okay, Kolu was not there. Nigeria didn't make any meaningful impact there. No statement, no nothing. It was there during the opening ceremony to take pictures. Then he disappeared. But Dele Alakori has been very much like the one making statements here and there that it was a success. There are so many companies, so many businesses. They can't wait to get down to Nigeria. And all of that nonsense that they have shared back there to pack it up very well, right? They organized the usual one, Nigerians in France, I've been in Europe. They came together to come and talk about, to come and meet Tinubu. You know, that same package they always kind of make for Bukwari at the time. Thank you. Akinola is 8 today. Can you believe that? For those who know Akinola very well, he's 8 today, and it seems like yesterday. So yeah, and before you know it, it's going to be 18, I believe. So thank you very much, everyone sending a happy birthday. Thank you. Okay. Now, while other African presidents were making like their position known of what they wanted to be treated equally and all that, they put together some Nigerians. Those who left Nigeria most of them, because of the failure of Bukwari, the last 8 years of APC, they grouped them in a room, probably an hotel, okay, to sing the praise of Kolu. I'll share that with you tonight. But another kind of interesting development because of this France or no France is that this morning, Okonjo, that's Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, decided to upload. She was there representing the World Trade Organization, WTO. She was of a World Bank before, wasn't she? And then you see IMF, you see all of them were there. All the top execs of all these companies, right? Or businesses, or this. So Okonjo-Iweala, that is like, now she's a common face, like recurring Decima. She's there. So she uploaded the pictures from the event. And when she uploaded the first one, now so war broke out on social media, especially on Twitter. Give me a sec. I don't want them to let me mute my stuff here, right? I think it's fine. I wanted to be sure that we don't get interrupted, okay? Okonjo-Iweala uploaded images of the president and other people she met. Now, so the Agbadomites ran mad. I have never seen that kind of madness in my life. A lot of you probably you don't have Twitter, you don't have Facebook, you don't know what waiting God do you, sometimes partially. If you want to see lunatics, hungry beggars, shameless beggars who are like a core Agbadomites, go to Twitter. Honestly, you are never going to miss them. Bunch of beggars. Before you know it, it'd be like war. We started hearing the Agbadomite. Okonjo-Iweala, she did not upload picture. She did not take pictures with Tinubu. Why did she not take picture? She undermined Tinubu. She doesn't rest because she's Igbo. The Igbos are this and that. Again, no, Igbos, this Igbo, that. Why would Okonjo-Iweala not take pictures with Tinubu to upload? And she's uploading other countries. I was like, wala ti dey by you. Before you know it, Okonjo-Iweala uploaded the second list. It can't be like they pop petrol inside fire. They were so angry that she didn't take picture with Kolu, and she didn't upload any image with Kolu, which according to them, Okonjo-Iweala is not accepting Tinubu as president because Tinubu is Yoruba, Okonjo-Iweala is Igbo. I mean, you just need to, some of them, if you read some of them, there is no way that you will know that Nigeria had the last dance, Nigeria had a problem. Irredeemable problems. So, after a few hours, Okonjo-Iweala now uploaded the substantial list where finally Kolu got a space. Picture of Kolu. But around that, by then, the damages have been done. People have turned themselves. They can't wait. I mean, they couldn't wait to tear themselves apart. Entire global space, entire Twitter square, every, threat. They want people to accept Kolu, but Kolu is not a product that anybody should be proud of. Even so many, I know some of you are shameless, who are like Tinubu's supporters. You are shameless, no doubt. But you know why I said you are shameless is this. Even if people want to give Kolu an opportunity, a benefit of doubt, Kolu is a no-show. No day. I'll show you something. This person is the Zambia president. And before I play the video for you, right, let me tell you his story. In Zambia, there were two big political parties, traditional, known politicians, big men, who actually shake Zambia politics. This guy came, just like Peter Obi of Nigeria. And it was considered as, it was known by his track record as a very prudent and then, honest person, so to say, public officer. So he ran for president. He wasn't expected to kind of, how was he going to do it? But not surprisingly, the Zambians, when they voted for him. And to this day, although I am not saying the economy of Zambia is better than that of Nigeria, I'm not comparing, but when you talk about leadership, that you can say there is actually hope if there's consistency this way. And Zambians will agree with me. Now watch their president at that summit, like that composure, that horror, that confidence, I want you to watch this. Like I said, it's a gist tonight and it's random. We're going to be jumping from here and there. We are still in France.
It's a question of pulling it together and targeting it. Let me also indicate here one of the lessons of our debt restructuring that is applicable to poverty reduction, to climate change, is the issue around speed at which we do things. G20 framework, when we took office 21 months ago, this discussion was already in train. Now we've been in office 21 months. Yes, we're very pleased that it happened yesterday. But for the countries that are coming after us, there's need to expedite the processes. Just that, whether it's, if you like, energy transition, as Senegal is involved in that, we must just be conscious of time. Every day we don't deliver these things that are within our control, we are basically increasing the cost and the damage gets compounded. I think it's very important. The next lesson I want to suggest here, relevant to the subject on the table, is that German Chancellor's point yesterday at dinner, repeated today, is so important for us as a global community to mobilize resources, yes, but these resources must be invested to help grow the economies of the less developed countries. Very important, because by doing that, we are creating capacity in those economies to mitigate against climate change and obviously poverty reduction. So value addition, not just with the electric vehicle industry that is coming through, huge industry. It is important President Macron that we look at deliberately investing in extraction, critical minerals, for example, in value adding these minerals in country. Obviously, that will help the growth side of the GDP, create jobs, business opportunities for the transactional chain in there, if I may call it that. So I think this must be deliberate as well. Rather than generic discussions, we must dive deep into the envelope and begin to say, these are requirements, these are needs, these are minimums. And it will mutually benefit, as somebody said yesterday, not to polarize the conversation, the North and the South. It will definitely, if it's structured properly, benefit the North, the South. And that's not the debate we must be engaging in, but mutuality for greater good, for a safe world, for a world that we can pass on to the next generation in a responsible manner. Lastly, I simply want to indicate that I like the spirit of partnership that I hear. I like what I hear from leaders, all of you who have spoken. I think that's the way it should be. But the thing is now to pull all this in one basket, draw an action plan, which is time-bound, and we get a job done. If the political leadership is there, business leadership is there, decisions are clear, we now need to get our technical people not to sit on the work that needs to be done. So supervision, monitoring is important. Lastly, and this is the last one really, I want to thank what I hear from the Chinese Premier, what I hear from Secretary Yellen, and indeed all the leaders that have spoken on the issue of conflict. We cannot achieve what we want to achieve if we allow our global community to focus time, resources, everything, technology, on conflict. I think there's a duty for us all to keep our individual countries peaceful, out of conflict, and not export instability to other countries, neighboring or far away. As we now know, instability anywhere is instability everywhere. I think it's very important that we work on that issue and focus the resources, focus the time, and all the other capital provisions on the development agenda to mitigate climate change, to reduce poverty. And I must also indicate here, the cost of capital must sit in this basket, that it must be lowered. The inequity around the cost of capital, Africa, for example, pays the highest cost of capital, is not correct. It doesn't help anybody at all. It just worsens the situation. We must address this situation. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
I mean, Zambians listen to their president. Zambians can tell you that that man speaking there is exact same when he's talking about them in Zambia. I mean, I can attest to that. Like I said, I'm not saying they have this superb, they are a small country with right leadership. There's something they can say they have hope. You get what I mean? That is not of Nigeria. Rather, you will see spokesperson like this telling you what Nigeria president did in France. Nobody saw him, said anything. Or you see this guy is telling 200 million people that their ghost president is making so much deals and not a single one is mentioned. Or wherever they are targeting, nothing, just talk. 200 million people.
Amend our rating by Standard & Poor's downgraded Nigeria, and it affects us seriously. So these are all very important initiatives.
Are we set? No? Okay. Sir, we are in Paris, and Nigeria is to sign finance pact tomorrow. What are Nigerians expecting from this?
Well, it's not strictly a question of signing finance pact. The essence of this trip, like I told NTA yesterday when we were boarding the aircraft for Paris, the essence is to network as much as is feasible, as much as is practicable, The president wants to network with international finance corporations, institutions, countries that are well-heeled, that would facilitate or that could facilitate direct foreign investment into Nigeria. Don't forget that Mr. President has taken some very bold steps in the area of economy, in the area of social engineering in the last 3 weeks. And particularly with reference to the unification of the multiple exchange rate, which has caused very positive multiplier effect. However, in the short run, we have noticed that and expected that there will be a slight spike in the demand, and then that would affect the value of the naira vis-a-vis the dollar. So there is, apart from the immediate short and long-term effects, positive effects of that unification policy, there could be a need for an injection of foreign exchange, direct foreign exchange into the economy to shore up the value of the naira while market forces stabilize. And in the short run or medium term, there's going to be, when the effects of this policy begin to mature, for instance, you can now...
When politicians uses that their hands, like they are writing something, okay, in describing what they are saying, it is the first pointer that they are lying to you, okay? And they can be looking for different nonsense to make a mumbo jumbo, to make up this. That's the spokesperson. But here is the NTA report. I'm gonna 2 events happened in France. The first one, leaders like that, president and all of them, they will have interactive session with the investors, media, question and answer time, where you're going to tell them what you have for them. This was where they expected Kolu to sit, so that he will come and tell the whole world. Okay, they call it a new global financing pact. That was where they expected Kolu to sit down. That place, you see the arrow. It disappeared. On that stage, at least, you could see the face of those who are there. They were answering questions, they were talking policies, finance, and all that. This is why Tinubu went there. The second part is where that Zambia president was talking. The president of the biggest black nation, the biggest economy in Africa. He was hiding like Ologbo. So when all of them were gone, those who have what they will get and the rest, they were gone, they decided to put together a small praise singing party for Kolu, as they normally do. Nigerians in diaspora, they are meeting with Kolu. Listen to the praise singer. This one, NTA reports.
On your mandate we shall stand.
We have been very impressed by the decision you took to eliminate the subsidy.
We need to work out and to think how Nigerians could keep representing Nigeria.
When I got the mic, I told them about the things happening in Nigeria and your policies that has happened in the past 3 weeks. The whole delegation wrote to me and told me they would be happy to come to Nigeria in the next few weeks.
What we have been campaigning, we are totally 100% is going to happen. So we have no doubts, we just have prayers for you.
After giving several testimonies of a good start by the Tinubu government, this group of patriots living across Europe, main concern is creating an enabling environment for investors. Nigeria, a country blessed with human and capital resources, according to them, can attain speedy economic growth with the removal of fuel subsidy and unification of the currency.
The interesting thing about this particular engagement is the extremely short time frame within which it was put together. And for that, because I know the President's program is extremely congested, it is congested. He has a lot of his counterparts here, other presidents from various parts of the world, wishing to see him, And just today, he has seen 2 heads of state. So, he kept asking me, and he kept saying, what about the diaspora? What about the Nigerian diaspora? What about the Nigerian? He kept saying that. So, and that tells us what? It tells us that he is very much interested in this meeting.
In Sudan. So we have Nigerians here who are doing great things back home. We have Nigerians to be proud of. And we have Nigerians who, as Mr. Leke has said, are very excited about the hurricane steps you have taken as president. And the image has changed all of a sudden, and it's like we all want to come back home to Nigeria.
President Bola Tinubu gave his usual commitment of taking a more holistic approach at the recovery of the country's economy from the impact of COVID-19 and rising cases of poverty to provide access to finance and investment that will leverage inclusive growth and development.
Nigeria belongs to all of you, all of us. Our diversity is an asset if we know how to use it for our prosperity. Born of the same father, in the same house, except living in different rooms. We must promote unity, stability, and economic justice for every one of us.
The president received several gifts from his host, including the famous Real Madrid defender, David Olatokunbo Alaba.
That's what they went to do in France. Did you hear those clowns in that room? Could you see them fidgeting? Like, is that what you call it? Fidgeting or forgetting? It no matter. Do you see them fidgeting there? We are happy for your policy. In the last 3 weeks, we are very, very happy. And you know what I mean? And they said they are going back to Nigeria in a few weeks. Is that true? There are some of you are going back to Nigeria from Europe because of Kolu. I don't know if that's true. I know that's not true anyway. Now, look at this engagement. From the same thing Kolu went for that nobody saw. Kenya president.
What we are saying is different. Is that what you're saying? You're saying is good, but it's not what you're saying. We are not saying that we continue to have what the taxes France is paying, the taxes Kenya is paying in the current setup. Those are national issues. We need a financial transaction tax at a global level. We did a lot of work together 2 years ago with this big push for Africa. We issued 650 billion SDRs, and we took the commitment to reallocate 100. One of the points we have to clarify during these 2 days is where we are, and I would be very curious to see from you.
So, in that same gathering where Kolu was missing, so if you are a Nigerian normally, and you have your own president, right, engaging with other global leaders like that on conversation that is that clear. Did you hear? I mean, you just listen to Ruto there. That's their new president in Kenya. Do you want me to tell you his story too? Ruto happened to be the vice president to, Uhuru Kenyatta. So when their politics started, Uhuru Kenyatta decided that he wasn't going to support his own vice president for president. And at a point, Ruto had to leave the political party that he belongs to with their president to go and join a coalition of other parties. And he ran, and he won. His own party, his own former party, his own president was more or less like trying to even turn the table until the Supreme Court came in and they declared him winner. Now, did you see the confidence he's talking? Did you see that passion he's also talking? Again, I am not saying that Kenya is better than Nigeria. That's not what I'm saying. I'm talking about when you see leadership, that you can say, these are new leadership. Oh, in Africa, that guy is new. The one in Zambia is just about maybe 2 years. Here you get, this one is just about a few months. Oh, Ruto. And these were product of people's resistance to the status quo in their different countries. So when they had a chance of being given mic to speak, did you see that confidence that they actually kind of exudes? Did you feel that? The clarity in what they are saying. Wouldn't you want to see a Nigeria president? A Nigeria president, even if the failure, the rotting you have witnessed all these years, wouldn't you want to see somebody actually talk and speak clearly, intelligently? Somebody who actually knows the job he is doing. Sure, you understand? Like, talk clearly, not all this, baba that. You know what I mean? These dead woods. I mean, maybe it's just me, Sha. You know, but in courts, in their court, okay, they are planning to remove him anyway. So watch this.
Yes, with respect to that, because that will touch the case. But suffice it to say that we fielded our last witness today, who, as you can see, tendered very, very critical documents pertaining to the qualifications of the second respondent, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the academic qualifications, including the NYSC certificate, and then the conviction, the criminal forfeiture judgment from the US, as well as the Guinean passport. So all these documents were admitted by the court, and we were able to round off our case on that note, having called 27 witnesses. So, and as the law permits us, and also in accordance with the pre-hearing report, we have eventually closed the calling of evidence by the petitioner. So the next stage now is for the respondents. If they have any defense, they will bring forward their own witnesses, and it will now be our turn to cross-examine those witnesses. If we have documents to challenge them with, we will do so. When they finish calling their witnesses, they too will close their case formally, and then the parties will now address the court on issues of law. That's why you see most of the times questions are asked, we say these are matters for address, because there are legal issues that at the end of the day will address the honorable court on. So we are very happy that this second stage will finish with the pre-hearing. Now we have concluded with the presentation of the petitioner's case, and we're very happy reviewing entirely what has been presented before the court. So we will now wait to hear from the respondent, and when they finish, we all leave everything in the hands of the court. Thank you very much. Yes.
The witnesses.
So, for clarity, majority of Nigerians didn't vote for that deadwood. So the rest of Africa, mocking and laughing at Nigerians, please remember, a lot of people are doing everything to prove to the whole world that this convicted drug trafficker that is now parading himself as Nigeria president is battling with what we call the legitimacy battle. Currently, they themselves are waiting on the court to legitimize the illegitimacy before they will now deal with the rest of Nigerians that have failed to accept them. It is a battle. Now, it was built to be in France, and then it will go back to Abuja, but something changed. So they moved him from Paris to London. So everybody who is in London, if you can help us get the location and the rest of that, there are many people who would like to go and say, I is the president of Nigeria now, and at the same time is on a private visit. Remember, Sha, nobody knows what he's up to as we speak. Okay. Then going back again, I told you I have this clip for you. And that clip is where I saw Gandola, Omo. Gandola was proposing punishment for thieves. It's shocking. It's just the wordings. Maybe not shocking, but it's a throwback. Watch this.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to seize this opportunity to congratulate you and my colleagues for accepting to deliberate on the recommendations of the 19 committees.
Have you mentioned the name?
Mr. Chairman, my name is Dr. Abdullahi Umar Ganduje.
Thank you.
Presidential nominee from Kano State. Mr. Chairman, I have 4 interventions to make. Intervention number 1. My first intervention is on the report of the Anti-Corruption Reforms Committee. The committee made a serious omission on the issue of granting bail to perpetrators of corruption. Penal laws in Nigeria, like Penal Code, Criminal Code, EFCC, and the ICPC Acts, allow offenses of corruption and financial crime to be bailable. This situation does not help the fight against corruption, Mr. Chairman. If a suspect standing trial for the offense of corruption is sure of his or her freedom or liberty when arraigned before a court of law, the fear of committing corruption is diminished. Moreover, an accused person standing trial for corrupt offense with his liberty and freedom can adopt every available means to frustrate prosecution of the case. In this respect, Mr. Chairman, I recommend that the offense of corruption and financial crime should be made non-bailable in our courts. The fear of remaining in prison custody during the period of trial in court can serve as deterrent to people that intend to commit offense of corruption. Also, Mr. Chairman, I recommend that high-level embezzlement of public funds and in financial institutions should attract death penalty, as obtained in countries like the People's Republic of China. Intervention number 2, Mr. Chairman. My second intervention is again on the report of the Anti-Corruption Reforms Committee. The committee recommended that government should investigate all the local and foreign assets of all the executives at all levels who have served since 1966 and bring the corrupt ones to justice. To my understanding, Mr. Chairman, the investigation will involve all past heads of states, elected presidents, past military governors, military administrators, elected governors, local government chairmen, and local government sole administrators. Mr. Chairman, no one should condone corruption in whatever disguise, but to investigate the above array of executives from 1966 to date is a Herculean task. Some of these executives are dead. Some surrendered their lives to keep Nigeria one. Some are presently bankrupt, yet some are surviving with difficulty. For example, Mr. Chairman, if say you will investigate Chief Solomon La, who ruled Plateau State during the Second Republic, Alhaji Abubakar Rimi, who ruled Kano, Dr. Garba Nadama, who ruled Sokoto State, and many other state governors in the Second Republic from the South, I assure you, Mr. Chairman, instead of asking them to pay you something, probably the government has to pay them for inconveniences. Even those who seem to be rich, their riches are affected by multiplier effects that will have legal implications. In my opinion, such investigations may be cumbersome. Authentic records may not be available, and the whole exercise may be bogged down by witch hunting, seemingly creating more problems than it could solve. In this respect, Mr. Chairman, I object to the investigation of the past executives with effect from 1966 as recommended by the Committee on anti-corruption reforms. There are sufficient laws to deal with those having foreign accounts. Intervention number 3. Mr. Chairman, another intervention is on the report of the Committee on Human Rights and Social Security. The report of this committee recommended to the conference for government for the Federation to implement the report of the Human Rights Violation Investigation Commission, popularly known as APUTA panel. I respectively object to the demand